Hello, I'm going to be showing you how to make this 3 pants basket I made out of 3 pants I wasn't really wearing a lot. I kept all of like the doodads, the waist belts, and all this stuff together to make something else out of. And I put all the stuff with metal things I need pliers to get off of in this one pile because I didn't want that, used as stuffing where there's little metal bits in it. And I put the stuff I want for stuffing in this one bag. Here's some more stuff. I keep the pockets. Yeah, this is me ironing one of the pockets. I keep the pockets because I want to do one big project with them. Maybe like something to hang up on a wall and keep stuff in. This is more of the stuff I'm going to put in the bag for stuffing. And I ironed this one pair of pants after seam ripping it apart because it fit me really well. It just made me sweaty because it's polyester. And I wanted to make a pattern out of it, out of ironing half of it, so that I could recreate them, but with a fabric that made me less sweaty. So here's me ironing it. This is after I seam ripped it, so that I can make a pattern out of it using wrapping paper and just random stuff to hold down the pants I seam ripped on the wrapping paper. This is me. I already created the back. And I'm about to create the front, and this is all the pattern pieces. And then this is me taking the fabric parts and sewing them, or cutting them into strips to make the basket with. So if you want to make your pants into a pattern, that's how you do it before you take the fabric bits and turn them into strips. And this is the other pairs of pants. This is a yellow corduroy. First I removed the belt parts, because they're the hardest to get off, and after I remove all the belt parts and stuff, I get the zipper, and then I go to the bottom and I seam rip that. Now it goes in whatever seam you can see first, like pockets is the easiest, but then waistband's probably the hardest because you have to do that, but then under that is the zipper. So it's important to do, just like think logically about what you're seam ripping, like what can you see, and then this is what it'll look like after you seam rip everything. I'm holding my camera with my hand, so it's a little focused in on one bit. But this is it. And then after that you're going to cut it into strips. Try to make them about the same part. It was a little difficult for me to cut with one hand because I don't have something to hold my camera up, but this is it. I'm cutting it into strips. Make sure you have a good pair of fabric scissors to cut these with. I mean, you could cut them with regular scissors, it's just going to be more difficult. And if you do use fabric scissors, remember to always be extra careful with them because they are extremely sharp for a good reason and it's dangerous. So cut them up into strips. Add them up to your strip pile. You do these to 3 pair of pants and you should eventually have 3 piles of a bunch of strips of fabric. I need to clean my machine, but you take these strips and you sew them together like this. You sew them together on their little tiny sides, and that creates a yarn. Make sure you have your space is well ventilated because there's going to be lots of fibers going around in the air when you do this. Now you're just going to sew that together. Make sure you backstitch and so that it doesn't come apart. I really need to clean my machine. So there's that. You are going to have to, when you're braiding though, undo some of them and then redo it so that you can actually braid your stuff together. See? Yeah, have it braided together. So when you're braiding it like this, and it's going to take a long time, but when you are braiding it like this, you're going to have to undo just one strip, one part where it's sewn together so that you can actually braid it together. Because if not, it's going to get tangled at the bottom where you're not braiding it. And that'll make sense when you're doing it. And then you just sew the braided part together like this into a circle. I do it with a crochet sewing needle. I got a little tangled at the bottom though. And you can form it into really anything you want. I had so much, so my basket got pretty tall. Now, also, when I said the braiding part is going to take a long time, I mean a very long time. And you're going to insert your needle where there's like a V, where like the fabrics come. Yeah, I'm pointing to it in this part, like right there where it's like a V. That's the easiest part to insert your needle into, like that little spot at the very like end of where the fabric crosses over, right there. That's where you're going to insert your needle. It was a little difficult to record with one hand, but I did it. There you go. And make sure you're using a strong yarn or string for this, because these are some pretty tough fabrics. Wow, I was getting pretty intense with it. So yeah, needs a strong string. This is me trimming it up after I'm done. You don't have to do this, but I'd prefer to, because I don't want the little stringly bits getting everywhere. This is what it looks like when it's done. So, yeah. And make sure you're using a stiff fabric for this. You don't have to. If you do use like a thinner fabric for this, you can actually sew it together on your sewing machine. At first, I tried to sew this together on my sewing machine, but the denim and the corduroy was just too thick, so I had to do it by hand. So, by hand for thicker fabrics, on the machine for thinner fabrics. And there's that little part on in there. Yeah, it got turned up on the bottom because I needed to have a flat part for the basket. But yeah, this is it, and it looks really good. This chart shows how the textile industry pollutes water, and it is exactly why you should make this basket with plastic-based fibers. That because when you wash them, the microfibers are going to get in the water. So when you make a basket, it's going to keep these fibers from going into the water. Now, plastic fibers actually don't make up much of what the fibers that we find in water are. It's mostly cellulosic, meaning plant, but they still get in there. This is azo dyes, and it's another reason you should do this, because the dyes used on these fabrics are not good for you, as you can see here, not very good for you. But yeah, this is on azo dyes. It's a classification of a type of dye used for synthetic fabrics, and it's been shown to be carcinogenic, so on humans. And this is how they pollute. And yeah, not a lot of fun stuff. You don't really want this getting into the water. This is more stuff about dyes. And this is a different classification of dyes. Triaryl-methane. They're also not that good for living beings. So yeah, that's why you should make this basket out of some plastic fibers.